We have more coming up with Harmeet Dhillon is getting into the mix now. I don't know if you saw this, but
referral also by Jim Jordan of Jack Smith to the DOJ this morning.
Oh yeah, that
criminal referral.
Yeah, that was like yesterday, the day before, and all I thought was, oh great, another referral that we can just go.
I'd like to get some referrals from these people. They're giving out so many referrals.
Well, that's referring. Does that mean they're prosecuting? It's like,
well, that's up to the people who receive the referral, I guess.
Well, exactly. And for example, how many referrals did Tulsi Gabbard give?
1 million.
Yeah, it just seemed like every other week, all the Russiagate referrals, this referral, that referral, this referral, and I haven't seen much coming out of it. Now, again, it might take 2 years. It might be the waning days of the Trump presidency before it happens, but it is kind of like, okay, another referral, another strongly worded letter, another. So it's kind of frustrating. But this is voter roll stuff. I think the New Jersey thing may get some legs and really hurt them.
Do you plan to take this fight to the Supreme Court?
Well, we do. It's actually closer to 30 states. 20 states have given us their voter rolls voluntarily, and we've found hundreds of thousands of people on those voter rolls who shouldn't have been there. Now, since the governor made this announcement, we've opened up an investigation. We asked her to disclose to us the names of the 6,600 individuals who were wrongfully put on the voter rolls, and then the 400 who voted knowing that they weren't entitled to. And today she hasn't responded to us yet, but she did tell the New York Times and others in New Jersey that she wasn't going to give us that information because, quote unquote, we would weaponize it and she doesn't trust us with the data. Well, who can't be trusted with data, Governor Cheryl? It seems like it's actually New Jersey, because these people said they weren't entitled to vote, and then you put them on the voter rolls in your state, blaming the vendor, calling it a glitch, et cetera. It is the job of the election officials, not some data vendor, to determine citizenship when they put people on the voter rolls. That's federal law. And it also sounds like, Liz, the state allowed these people to stay on the voter rolls for more than a year after they knew that they weren't legally entitled. That is a violation of federal law too, federal criminal law. So we're looking at this very carefully.
All right, so that's going on there. And
I mean, they're simply refusing to turn over these federal requests. I mean, they are quite willing to break the law no matter what happens, no matter what the law says. They do not give a fuck. Cheryl says it's going to be weaponized, so she decided to break the law. That was her political decision. She did not want to give what she perceives the Republican as a political weapon, so she's willing to violate the law of the land. I mean, there's got to be some sort of repercussions to that. You can't just say, oh, well, you know, I mean, she herself has to be indicted. That's where I'm going with this.
What I think will be interesting is apparently the software vendor came out and said,
oh, yeah.
Nice try.
Bullshit. Yeah, no, he's denying it as well.
But I would like to see, because this is where things can shift. She's made these public claims as a governor. She didn't do it in front of Congress as a congressperson, you know, who has, you know, complete immunity. They can say whatever the hell they want.
Right.
She sat there and said that that product did this. And I wonder if he can't just sue her.
Absolutely.
And for this.
Well, look what Dominion did. Look what Dominion did to Fox News. It's like $1 billion lawsuit, right?
Right. So if maybe she can't give it to Harmeet Dhillon, but if there's a lawsuit going on from the software vendor, we've got discovery. Let's see what happens. That could be an interesting thing. I think her election could be in jeopardy.
And that's because it was recent. It was recent.
Well, she claims that, you know, this was.
Why didn't it hurt her, the same vendor, a couple of months ago?
Exactly.
Why didn't it hurt her then?
Well, and also she said that it was only, 4,000, and now it's like maybe 30,000. There's questions of how many people it actually was and what's going on. And of course, she opens by projecting, which makes me think, oh, God, she's guilty as hell, because she's immediately saying, look at Donald Trump lying. It's like,
yeah, what does that have to do with anything?
Literally, you're literally in a press conference saying,
right, about your voting
by the way,
problems.
This happened.
Well, she's also denouncing a guy who has said that things like this most likely happened. So the first thing she does is denounce that guy as a liar, and then admits it happened.
Exactly.
It's kind of crazy. But she's some nutty fucking broad like the one in New York, Hochul, and yours, Spamberger, who have ended up running the lives of hundreds of millions of people.
I don't know, but I do know this. It is so difficult to keep up with everything, every story, every verbiage, all the crap they're saying. In order to do this, I need help, and I recommend for everybody coffee, because to keep up with the stories, what do they say now? Oh God, I'm tired. Oh, here, let me get a cup of coffee, and I can get a little bit alert, and I can stay with the stories, and you too can. We're helping you here. It's a public service. We have our own custom blends that are delicious and effective. And this is a continuation of the conversation we were having about the munitions and Iran and what the situation was. And, I had a theory, and I haven't, gotten it, not clear. It's just, it's just my theory. And then you read something in the Washington Post. Apparently this article has been out there for a couple months now. This is military.com, which is a bit more of a neutral source than the Washington Post. And it's
am I on here? Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah.
I just want to interject that this is not military.com. It's an Associated Press article republished by military.com, thereby diminishing the credibility of the source. If you scroll down, I'm sorry, I didn't want to wait because I saw that also on Locals, and which they're more than welcome to do. But I look at the Associated Press as the equivalent of the New York Times.
Okay, well,
that doesn't mean it's not true. I'm just saying you got to look.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, you've got that. Good. I'm glad you pointed that out. That's cool. Yeah. But the salient point to the whole thing, this isn't yesterday. This is actually some time back.
Yeah.
There were murmurings, there was talk about that, and it appears there is, more going on. And Hegseth even said, hey, we need more money because we got to make more munitions to keep up with what the hell we're doing.
Well, it's a constant refrain throughout American post-World War II presidencies, going back to Congress, always saying we need more money for the Pentagon. So that's, par for the course. But this was published not that long ago. It's still 2026, the end of May.
Sure. But it's, again, though, it's not a leak 3 days ago or 5 days ago.
No, you're right.
It's almost 2 months old.
If you believe that, I don't have evidence to the contrary. This is just my gut saying I don't believe it. So it could be true anyway.
My gut is from being in the military and looking around and seeing how things really are quite often. It doesn't surprise me. You think that there's so much.
Well, then how are they going to attack Iran tonight?
Well, they've been building this whole time. I mean, part of the pause, unfortunately, the MOU and all that pause, what did it allow Iran to do? Rearm, get some money through, rebuild.
I think getting money through, definitely with the oil.
But what do you think they did with the money?
I don't think that they have I don't know. I mean, if we could track shipments into Iran with satellites, I think we would be aware of that. And if they were rebuilding, I think we could be aware of that photographically, like Bobby Kennedy and Jack Kennedy did during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And that technology is 65 years old. In terms of, saying if I was JFK of today, and the Iranians were rebuilding their things, I would simply show the American public, like the Cuban missiles from the Soviet Union, this is what's going on.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know, it's just my take on it.
So are you saying that they were not rebuilding? Because I think Israel said they absolutely were rebuilding. And
I don't know what rebuilding means. I think they purchased ballistic missiles from China, that they're built in China. That's why I'm saying if China is bringing them in via train or ship, I'd like to know about that, because I don't think the Iranians build them from scratch.
Okay, I think we're stuck on the word rebuilding. So how about rearming?
Okay, so that's my point. Then are the Chinese rearming the Iranians during the break? If they are, let's see the evidence of it. That's why I'm making the allusion to the Soviets bringing in missiles into Cuba and what Jack Kennedy did by exposing it with photographic evidence. If the Chinese, and people say they might be, let's get a look at it. How are they doing it? By that train line, Eric, that we found about a couple of weeks ago, that they were importing stuff via train. Then bomb the fuck out of the
You had a tanker.
Well, bomb the fuck out of the train line then and castigate the Chinese. I haven't seen that though.